Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the Astral Thoughts Podcast. I know I have not uploaded for about a week or 2 weeks, but as I've said before, I've been really busy. But I'm trying to upload more consistently, or I'm trying to upload at least 3 times a month, I'd say. But let's see if I can continue to do that and be consistent. We'll see. But on today's podcast episode, I wanted to talk about my awakening. I didn't want to dive too deeply into it just because I've kind of made a video about this before in the past. So I wanted to talk about what's going on in my current journey. And I also wanted to touch upon what actually occurs during someone's awakening, what things you might see, things you encounter, and how you might feel during this spiritual journey. So let's dive right into it. So I guess the first thing I'll kind of talk about, how I was awakened. I've said in the past that, it started with sleep paralysis and it made me have this type of encounter where, I was able to, I guess, feel the love of Jesus or God. I saw like um, this beautiful picture, or I don't know what to call it, but it was kind of like a 3D image that appeared above my bed. And when I saw it, this incredible feeling of love just, you know, engulfed my whole body. And it was so intense that, I started to cry. So after I experienced that, that kind of just made me start searching. And that really made me get onto the spiritual path. I was on a search trying to see what caused it, how could this be replicated, what happened. So I went down this whole rabbit hole, and that's when I discovered the book by Robert Monroe, and I started reading other books as well that talked about out of body experiences. And as I started learning about out of body experiences, or once I had that sleep paralysis experience that opened up this rabbit hole for me, it opened up a door that I couldn't really close. And I think a lot of people can relate to that. Once you open up this spiritual door, you can't really fully close it. And the reason why I say that is because once you experience something that's out of this world, it's always on the back of your mind and it always makes you question things. You always start to think, at a deeper level, and you start to try to make connections between things. Things might not make sense now, but they'll make sense later on, and you'll kind of understand that. So, and I guess another thing that kind of changed my life as well, or my perspective on life, was this book that I read by Dr. Michael Newton, and he was a psychiatrist that had patients that he did past life regressions on, and they all kind of said the same thing. And they basically said that, we are here to learn on earth and nothing more, to just spread love, spread positivity, and all that. But that was a really good book. But, all these experiences kind of uh, shaped, my experience. And, you know, you start to experience things that, you can't really understand, and all you can do is just try your best to understand it or try to figure out what caused it. And I started diving deeper um, into these different ideas. And my thing for people is, what I tell them is, you have to experience it yourself. You can tell someone, you felt the love of Jesus or whatever, and they'll look at you like you're crazy. But you have to realize that that experience to you is special, and it means something to you, and that's all that matters. People will figure out their journey on their own. And the next thing that happened to me that kind of stood out was when I did this experiment where I asked my sister to write down a number between 1 and 100, and I meditated and I would try to guess the number, and I got it on my first try. After that, that really kind of spooked me, and it made me just realize and confirm all these things that I've been learning and just researching, that it's true that there's a collective consciousness. We all share this collective consciousness. So basically, all these ideas that we have that we think are private, they really aren't private. It's a shared consciousness. And so after that, I really dug even deeper, into this, and I tried to understand the science behind it because of my whole, my whole background, my science background. I just tried to understand it, and I just got a lot of confirmation. And I guess, I reached out to another scientist that used to work for NASA, named Dr. Albert Taylor, and because he had these out of body experiences as well, and I read his book, and it just confirms that there's people out here experiencing out of body experiences, and after you experience it, you kind of just start walking around like, what are we doing here? Like, why is everyone so wound up about what's going on in this physical world? And you start to realize that none of this matters. This job that you have doesn't matter. All this stress, this external stress that you're feeling from money, or your job, or a relationship, or whatever it may be, it does not matter at all, because we're just here to learn. I'm not saying to do anything crazy, but I'm just saying, like, if you're ever stressed out, or you're worried about something, and you're feeling really down, just take a deep breath and realize that we're all here experiencing this for a reason. You're exactly where you need to be right now. So I guess with that said, what I'm just trying to say is, once you wake up from your dream, or I'd say the earth dream, once you wake up from that earth dream, you start to realize that nothing really matters, and you start to take things day by day, and you just have a greater appreciation for life, and you really start to realize how beautiful life really is, and you start to just really appreciate the simple things in life as well. um, and I guess that I'll start to share some things you start to encounter. So for me, once I opened that door, I started seeing the number 44 like crazy, and I've said it before on the podcast, but I'll kind of talk about how I started seeing it so often. And this was like a week or 2 weeks ago, and I started seeing the number 44 that day. Like I said, I've been seeing it, for like a couple years now, but I started seeing it on a particular day, and I'd say, I'm going to start just writing down every time I see it so I can tell my wife. And when I see the number 44, it doesn't necessarily mean that, oh, you're going to hit the lottery or something. To me, it means you're on the right path. And, just keep going, just keep going. And for example, also it's like, it's that inner voice in my head that's kind of says, keep following. That's I kind of, that's how I kind of see the number 44. It's just my angels, or whatever you guys want to call it, spirit guide, higher self, telling me to keep going. And so for example, right, I it was in the morning time, I'm at work, and I was just scrolling on my phone, and I was on social media, and I see a family member post something on Instagram, and I see the story. I open it, and it's literally just a screenshot that they posted. They just posted a screenshot of their phone, and on that screenshot of theirs, it was, I think, 144. So I saw it right there in the morning. So I was like, okay. And each time I see the number 44, I just kind of stop, and I give thanks for seeing it, and I appreciate my spirit guides or higher self reaching out to me. So the next time, it was about maybe an hour later, and I was back on Facebook because I had received an email from some psychic saying that they're doing like a past life regression group session, and I was like, oh, okay, that seems cool, but I didn't want to click on the email because I was kind of skeptical. So I was like, let me just look up this psychic on Facebook, see if I can find him. So I ended up finding the psychic, and I'm scrolling on her Facebook, her business profile, and first thing I see is she says, happy birthday to me. It's my 44th birthday," and I just kind of laughed out loud at work, and was like, wow, okay. Um, and then I also saw it, a couple times while I was at work, like seeing it on the time and whatever. And then now I'm leaving work, right? And I walk by a courthouse. And as I'm walking by the courthouse, like, it's just like some random car parked on the street with the number 44 on the license plate. Thought that was just kind of funny. It's like, oh, okay, whatever. And now I'm approaching the train station. I take the train, and as I'm on the train, or not, no, before I reach the train, I'm walking to the train station, and there was like a work vehicle parked right outside the train station, right outside of it. And there was a number on that was advertised on the vehicle, and to call the company, and 44 was in the telephone number. Another thing was that I was kind of messaging someone, a recruiter, for a job, and basically I was waiting to hear back from them, but I kind of delayed myself from reaching out. So I finally reached out at 1:36 p.m. and they responded back, but I did not check the message until later. So I saw the message later. I read it, whatever, and then for some reason I decided to go back on the email and reread it, and I saw that the person had sent the email to me at 1:44 p.m. I kind of dropped my phone once I saw that because I was like, okay, that's kind of crazy. And then I was watching a video on YouTube. It was about it was like a funny video about um, hilarious moments at the NBA courtside. And in the video, there was like a celebrity. He was wearing a wristband, and it's not like they zoomed in on it or anything, but it's like it was just in. It was in the. It was in the. It was like in the. It was basically in like in your way that you could see it. But they had a wristband, and on that wristband was the number 44. And I just paused it, and I just just laughed, and I was like, wow, okay. And like I said, I don't see it as like, hey, go to the gas station and buy a lottery ticket. I just see it as keep going. And I say that because, lately I've been having this idea, and I've been having this feeling that, I need to kind of maybe get out of my industry of work, and I want to pursue something on my own with my wife. And there's this business idea that I have, and I've had it for a while, but something just kind of, I had this inner voice telling me to kind of just chase it recently. And I've had that moments multiple times, or I'd say maybe about 5 times in life, where it really did change my life. And off the top of my head, the ones that I remember when I was at this job that I had. It was good money, whatever, but it was just breaking me down mentally, and I was getting depressed, and I just had this knowing feeling. I was just zoned out, and I just had this knowing feeling that just said like, "Don't worry, you're leaving here." And I was just like, "Okay." I just felt instantly. I felt better. I just felt relieved. It was just that feeling that I just knew I'm not going to be here anymore. I'm not going to have to put up with this. So I said, okay, I'll just go with it. And then, it everything did work out, and I got a much better job where I'm a lot happier. And another time that happened was when my wife and I were about to move, and I was making a big deal, not really making a big deal, but I couldn't really see how we were going to leave, like sell our house and buy a new house. But I remember we went to some open house, and we saw this new construction home, whatever. And after I saw it, I just had this knowing feeling of like, we're gonna get this house. And I told my wife while we were seeing this house, I was like, I don't know. I was like, we're getting a new house sometime soon. I don't know when. I was like, I don't know if it's next year or in 2 years, but we're getting a brand new house like this very soon. She said, okay. And literally the following year, we had a brand new house. Um, and and it was like exactly like the house that we were seeing that day, like built the same way, but probably a little bit better. Um, and then I'm trying to think. There's another one recently, and then with this whole business idea, something just flipped in my mind and just told me like it's time. It's time to move on from this and to pursue a job, or I'm to pursue a business that I would really want to be a part of. So with that said, um, I guess what I just want to tell everyone is to just follow that inner voice in your head that tells you, what you should do. Follow your gut feeling. If you feel like something isn't for you, you feel like you're forcing something to work. It's don't force it. Just listen to yourself and just do what's best for you. Follow your heart, and everything will be better. Um, so with that said, I hope you guys enjoyed. follow your hearts and just keep learning and living. All right. Bye, guys.